What's going on? What's going on? We got another episode of College Hoops Weekly with Coach Cloud, part of the Cloud9 podcast channel. We got it all network show channel, Cloud9 Talk, CloudHoopZ Consulting YouTube channel, Cloud9_Talk on IG. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your mama, cousin, auntie, newborn, all that. Like I said, we going strong. 26 and beyond, had a good 25. Now we back at it. We got a full week of college basketball to talk about, and let's get to it though. It's been a lot of good games. So, like I said, teams of the week. We're gonna start with the teams of the week. Kansas beats #1 Arizona. That was a big game by Kansas. They had a late scratch 10 minutes before the game with Darren Peterson with fluke-like symptoms being out, but they still won with Melvin Cancel shooting 23 points, 4 assists, shot the ball 23 to 24 times. That was a lot of shots for him, but they still got the job done. Floyd Bonga and Bryson Tiller, they did their thing. Let's talk about Floyd Bonga and Bryson Tiller. I think they are the most underrated front court in college basketball. They play defense. They get it done on offense. Well, either if it's shooting threes from Bryson Tiller or if it's slamming the home from Floyd Bonga. These guys are game changers. They're difference makers, and we need to be talking about these guys more because like these guys these guys are the real deal. Like they're the reason why Kansas can get to the second round, the third, the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, maybe the Final Four. A lot of people having them as national championship contenders. That's a little bit far right now, but like I said, if they can get DP and the way the rest of these guys is hooping, they have a strong shot at winning it all with DP coming, Darren Peterson, then arguably one of the best players in the draft in years. If he can, come back and stay healthy throughout the NCAA tournament, I feel like Kansas has really a good shot because, like I said, he's the best player on the court every time he steps on, and that's something to think about though. But one thing about Arizona, Cole Pete, he came down to earth. He looked kind of pretty normal as far as just being able to go against people that's like, NBA caliber bigs, and he kind of struggled, turned the ball over, was getting a shot blocked by the bigs of Kansas, and that's a kind of a concern as far as inside scoring versus good bigs. They did a good job versus Florida, but I feel like Florida could beat Arizona right now because Florida is just a whole different team right now. The way Boogie Flan and Xavier Lee and Big Ruben, like I said, they just have the defensive specialists. They're starting to find their roles, and yeah, that's good for the Gators. But like I said, Arizona, they got a tough schedule. They got BYU, they got Arizona. Arizona play Texas Tech tonight, so that's going to be a tough one right there at home. So we'll see how Arizona bounces back after losing to Kansas. Louisville blows out NC State 118 to 77. Michael Brown had 45 points, 10 threes, 10 to 16 from the three-point line. Now, that's a big-time game for Michael Brown. Now, I've been a Michael Brown critic past, months and seasons, but, he's had his best game so far. Shot 1 for 12 versus Duke. Let's see if he can keep this flowing to the NCAA tournament. If he has a big NCAA tournament, I feel like he'd be really solidify himself in the top 5, top 10 for sure. Definitely top 10, but that top 5, he keep doing what he do. He definitely could be top 10. It's a lot of good guards right here. Ryan Cromwell had 31 points. He's one of the top guards in the nation as well, playing that off-ball role. He's better playing the shooting guard role rather than a point guard and being a decision maker. He's a scorer, so he can get to it, though. So having 31 points and 45 points from your backcourt for Louisville, it makes it very, very hard to beat. And shooting over 17 threes a game, right? And in that particular game, hey, that's a recipe for a D tournament run. Maybe ACT if they can get it together. So shout out to Louisville, man. They look pretty good Monday night. And NC State, they had like a 6-7 game win streak. And that was a big game for NC State. Really get a good win on the road versus a good quality quad one win. They got some good wins recently in their win streak, but that was a really, really big win, big test for them to beat Louisville on the road, and they got smacked. So they play. I want to say they play Virginia today. No, not Virginia. NC State play. They got a good game today though. They play. I want to say they play Virginia Tech, so that should be a good game. St. John's, they looking good, man. They beat Xavier and Rick Pitino. Shout out to Rick Pitino, got his 900th win. Over 900 wins this year, past Roy Williams to be third all time. So shout out to Rookie P. You know, he's doing it. They tried to blackball him. He won at Iona. He wins everywhere he goes, won overseas. So, man, shout out to Rookie P, man. He did his thing. And he got St. John's looking like a well-oiled machine. Like they can win the Big East back-to-back years and also make an NCAA tournament back-to-back years. So, let's see what St. John's do the rest of the way this February. It's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's. Make sure you get your grill, some flowers, chocolates, whatever you need to do. Make sure you take your grill, though. So, like, you know, we've covered a lot of teams that wear red. And like I said, it's Valentine's Day. It's the month of love. So, hopefully, a lot of teams can get that's on the boat will get some love. We got Purdue over with Nebraska on the road this past week. That was a big one for Purdue. Purdue been kind of shaky, losing 3 of the last 4 games. Some on the road, some at home. So, that's good for Nebraska to really come down to earth, and Purdue really to just get their stride back, though. But I still really high on Nebraska. Nebraska came back. They was down 20 at one point during this game, and they did their thing, though, as far as Purdue and Braden Smith, Fletcher Loyer making shots, Oscar Club, Trey Carl. They got talent. It's just really just now staying consistent and being tough. You know, team's going to take their best shot at Purdue. Florida, they played Kentucky today. So, you know, let's see what, you know, Kentucky been hot. They only lost 1 game out of their last 10. They're like 9 to 10 in the last game. So, let's see what the Gators can really do versus the Wildcats. You know, Boogie Flan, Xavier Lee, Thomas Hall, Alex Collins, Big Ruben. They've been looking good. They've been looking like the best team in the SEC right now. But Kentucky, check this out. Kentucky, they had a tough stretch. Now they have a chance. They win a day to be clear-cut number 1 in the SEC. Check. How does that sound? Kentucky can be SEC clear-cut number 1. A little tongue-tied. Clear-cut number 1 if they win today versus Florida, though. So, you know, that's a real big game as far as SEC placing and, you know, see who's going to be on the top of the SEC. Then you got Michigan. Michigan, they're a world machine. They beat down on Penn State. They got another game, you know. So let's see if Michigan can continue to be the best team, the most consistent team, and the deepest team in the nation right now, though. Dusty May, Jackson Vanderberg, Elliot Cadeau, Montez Johnson, Andy Mara, Roddy Gale. They got a squad. Michigan. I've been talking about them all year. I think they can win it all. Michigan State. They played Wisconsin last night. Took a beat down. But Michigan State, they beat Illinois on the road last week. So, like I said, I never will count Izzo and fears out. So, let's see how they can bounce back next week with, you know, see how they can turn around, though, because they got a tough slate around. Wisconsin, they had a big week. They beat Michigan State, and they beat Illinois. So, you know, shout out to them. Greg Gard, he got them really rolling, though. So, Nick Boyd, looking like a first team all Big Ten. He should be all conference for sure, though. Should be second team or first team the way he's been playing, though. They've been putting a lot of buckets up, too. So shout out to Wisconsin. Those are the teams of the week. Now, let's get into the hot seats for coaches. Now, these coaches are really on the hot seat. Their teams begin blowing out at home, on the road. It doesn't matter. Their teams just kind of got off the rails, though. So the first one is we talked about Anthony Grant and UD Flyers. They're really got off the rails. They've been blowing out at VCU, losing to LaSalle, St. Joe's, lost to Rhode Island overtime at home. They lost like 4 or 5 of their last games right now. So, you know, hopefully they can bounce back and get back to winning basketball like we used to see in the day of Flyers. But this might be the last year for Anthony Grant. 2 back-to-back years of underperforming at A-10 conference play. Haven't won an A-10 championship in 20 years, or over 23 years. So since Brian Gregory left, so let's see if they can pull around in February for the rest of February and get into March though. So Anthony Green, he's definitely on the hot seat right now. LSU, Matt Buchanan, John Morant's old coach at Murray State. He's at LSU for the past couple years. He was on a hot seat right now. They had a good conference play, started 12-1. Now they're in the bottom of that SEC play, keep losing. So that he's definitely on the hot seat. Let's see if he can turn it around though, because they're still in the bubble. People still have them first 4 in or first 4 out. They got turned around the SEC play to get some big wins. Kansas State, Jerome Tang had a lot of hooping and hollering in his beginning of his tenure. Got to the Elite Eight with Marcus Noel and Keontae Johnson. He's been missing them since then. He hasn't got to the tournament, and struggling. Got PJ Haggerty, gave him all that money. Nate Johnson from Akron. Now they're struggling, in the Big 12. They're the worst team in the Big 12 right now. Lost by 30 to UC. Another coach that was on the hot seat we talked about last week, Wes Miller. So can't lose by 30 to UC at home. That's a bad loss for them. 30 though, come on, Tane. You can do better than that. South Carolina, Lamont Parrish, he's on the hot seat. That's been hot for the past 3 seasons. Ever since Missy Johnson left, they haven't really been the same. He's back down, and they're still losing. Bottom of the SEC. So, that it's going to be hard for him to really – he got a big recruit, though. Marcus Johnson, the top 50 recruit, top 25 recruit coming in, play point guard with Eli Ellis next year. So, let's see how he can turn it around. But he's on the hot seat for now. Wake Forest, Steve Fursey. A lot of people have been very highly on him, saying he's a top 10 coach in the nation. I didn't see it. I never saw it. Probably a good coach overall, but right now, Wake Forest, he's struggling, hasn't got him to the tournament. So he's on the hot seat, been losing a lot of games that they should have won. So let's see if he can bounce back. Georgia Tech, Damon Stoudemire, former NBA player, former Rookie of the Year. He's been struggling at G Tech. He's at the bottom of the ACC as well with Wake Forest. So hopefully they can pull it around, get some recruits or something, because like I said, they've been struggling as far as closing out games. Not being getting blown out, but like they got to get some wins. So I feel like he's on the hot seat. Notre Dame, so that's 3 ACC teams on this list. Marcus Shrewsbury, bottom of the ACC again, once again. So he's on the hot seat. So these 3 ACC coaches, they might have job wins in the spring. So we'll be monitoring them situations right there. So like I said, it's kind of hard to call people for jobs. You got to win games, and that's why people are trying to get pros, elite guys, overseas guys, so they can save their jobs. And it'll show you why. You got to win these games. Can't be winning can't be having double-digit losses and single number wins. So let's monitor these situations as the season goes on. So also, I want to talk about we did number 1 overall seedings, predictions, a little bit. Some of them teams took a lot of losses. But let's get into second and third overall seeds. So my second overall seeds is Florida right now. Like I said, I feel like they're the best team in the SEC. The SEC doesn't have any number 1 seeds right now. They've been taking losses in non-conference and SEC play. So right now, I think Florida is the best team. Texas A&M kind of started up high, but finished strong. But kind of started off strong. Now they kind of take a step back, kind of getting back to reality. But it's still a good team. But I like Florida. Like I said, I just shouted them about 3 times already. But you already know how I feel about Florida. Purdue, I feel like they're going to get their stride in and, figure it out, see how they can become a top 10 team right again, finish the top 10 in the rest of the, regular season. But I feel like they're gonna pull it around. Brandon Smith, senior guard, been to the Final Four, been to the tournament runs. I feel like he's on a mission to get that 2 seed. Iowa State, they took a loss to TCU, but Tyron Lipsey, Joshua Jefferson, and their overseas guys, Messerschmitt, I feel like they're going to bring be back at the 2 seed by the time the regular season over. In Virginia, they got a big game versus Ohio State. If they can get this game and continue to play pretty well, I feel like he get a 2 seed. Ryan Odom, first year at Virginia, grew up in Charlottesville. Dad was a former assistant coach at Virginia when he grew up. So let's see, they can get that 2 seed as well. Virginia's back. Virginia basketball is back. The Cavaliers are back. Let's get to the third overall seeds. Nebraska started off 22-0 to start the season. Kind of took some L's to some good teams, but I feel like they're worthy enough to be a 3 seed and still get to the second weekend of the tournament. Vanderbilt, they started off undefeated, started off 20-0, 21-0. Kind of took us a couple of losses. Still top 5 in the SEC. I still think they're going to be a 3 or 4 seed coming around. Texas Tech, if they can get this win today versus Arizona on the road, I feel like they can jump up to that 2 seed, not 1 seed, but that 2 seed for sure. They got Jalen Page, JT Toppin, Christian Anderson, and Grant McCaslin. I feel like they're a well-oiled machine. As well as shooting the ball pretty well, DeJuan Watts. So they got a good team. They got one of the best starting 5s and lineups in college basketball. So I think that's why they're really so hot. And Kansas. A lot of people have been down on Kansas this year. They've been, I think, Bill Self has done a hell of a coaching job. should be getting some Coach of the Year considerations in the Big 12, the way he's been pulling together with DP being in and out the lineup all year. So let's see, if Kansas can solidify that 3 spot, just keep winning games down that stretch. So that was my second and third season overall. Speaking of Kansas, what's going on with DP? Darren Peterson. DP is Darren Peterson. He's a number 1 draft pick on a lot of mock drafts and a lot of scouts. But my thing is with him is, are we going to be able to see him play against the good teams like the he sat out versus Duke, sat out second half versus BYU, got hurt during the North Carolina game, sat out 10 minutes before the Arizona game. When it comes to big games, man, he just happens to not be there all the time, and that's a concern as far as if I'm drafting him number 1. Like, damn it, if he can't play a whole college season or get through a college season without being in and out, I mean, why would I draft to number 1? It's 82 games, and people are going to be taking your best shots every game, especially if you're going to be the number 1 pick. So I don't know personally. He has the talent, it's more durability on my thing as far as dealing with him. So let's monitor and see how that works out, though. But I know a lot of agents is in his ear talking about he should sit out. I mean, if you're gonna shut down the season, though, don't kind of tease the fans, the media, and your teammates and your coaches and your fan base. That's when they kind of turn against you because they don't ever know when you're gonna play, especially in this generation of social media where people have more access to troll you. So hopefully DP can get healthy for the rest of his basketball career, and also just to help Kansas get a shot at winning the championship. Bill Self get that 3rd national championship DP, that'd be very, very, very elite. Not that he's in the elite class already, but that would very, very make you solidify both Bill Self as the greatest Kansas coach and DP as one of the greatest players to play at Kansas in a long, long time. My March sleepers. These teams are teams that people are not really paying attention to as far as on a national standpoint, but they're killing it in their conferences. So I got High Point out of the Big South. They're a well-oiled machine. They got a lot of NIL money, and they're a senior guard heavy team. And I feel like that the way they play, they got a good chance to win their conference tournament and sneak a win in the NCAA tournament. So shout out to the High Point. Look out for High Point too. South Alabama, they've been getting it done on the road and home. Shout out to Jaden Cooper, my guy, one of my clients. Just had 34 points on the road versus Southern Miss. So I like him and Chaz Harris and Adam Olsen. They got a good team. I feel like they got the team to really the talent and coaching the way they play their zone as well to make a run in the Sun Belt tournament and maybe get a win in the NCAA tournament. You never know, depending on how seeding and matchup. It's all about seeding and matchup. Matchups play a real big thing when it comes to the playoffs in the tournament settings. Santa Clara, shout out to Saz G. He's been killing it. Currently 20 a big game versus Gonzaga. We're gonna talk about that game in a hot second. But they're at a large bid, so I feel like they're a March Madness sleeper. They got a lot of talent on the front court, guard play on it. Starters in off the bench. So look out for the Santa Clara Broncos. Steve Nash from our school, 2-time MVP of the Suns, NBA. So Santa Clara, they're doing real good things out there. BCU. I like them, being the A10 sleeper as far as winning the tournament. They got George Mason. They're kind of following them up. St. Louis is still winning games, but I think it's between BCU and St. Louis. St. Louis is not really a sleeper. They're ranked top 25 in the nation right now, and they've been there for the past couple of weeks. So give me VCU as far as being a March Madness sleeper as well. Hofstra, Cruz Davis, and Speedy Claxton. Coach Speedy Claxton, they got a good team in the CBA, so let's see how they can finish strong. But I feel like for Cruz Davis, they got a good chance to be a March Madness sleeper. Portland State, they're only lost one game in the Big Sky. They got Terry Mills and Big Bond in the middle and good guard play. I feel like they could be a March Madness sleeper as well. UMBC, Darnell Armstrong Jr. in the American East. Vermont usually takes over the American East, but right now UMBC, they're currently best team right now. They got to win 6 years ago versus Virginia to be the first team to ever beat first 16 seed ever beat a 1 seed. So UMBC got some more March Madness sleeper history already. And NJIT, they're doing pretty well in the NEC. So I won't sleep on them as well. They got bigs and size, and they're having one of their best years in program history. So shout out to NJIT, the Highlanders. So those are my March Madness sleepers. So now let's get into the mid-major top games of the week. George Mason versus George Washington. I like George Washington in that game. I feel like George Washington needs this win for their season. And like I said, George Mason been kind of taking a step back. They lost one game going into the year, the calendar year. They lost the last 2 to 3 games. So give me George Washington in that game. UMass versus Akron. UMass gave a good battle versus Akron, but they ended up winning 98-92. So shout out to my guy, Big Dog, former roommate. To see him come from a freshman from Cincinnati to get a number, Big 23 in the Raptors. Shout out to you, Isaiah Johnson, Big Dog, Walnut Hills legend, Cincinnati legend, and now Akron Zips and Mac legend. Won the 2016 six man of the year, and he also won 2017 Mac Player of the Year. So shout out to my former roommate, Big Dog Johnson. Ohio versus Miami. That's going to be a good game. Miami, they won that game last night by 23, 74 to 96, 97, I mean. So, Miami, they're 24-0 right now, and they're a hard team to beat right now. They got that swag. And, Wally Zerback was in the building. It was a sold out, played on ESPN. So, Miami, there's a lot of love, man. So, keep stacking up the wins. Gonzaga versus St. Clair. On the road, Gonzaga. Gonzaga got a big game. They lost to Portland, though, so I feel like St. Clair got a good win to really solidify them at a winning the tournament without having to get into the without winning the WCC tournament. So I think St. Clair got this win. I think they can get this win. Alan Graves, Christian Hammonds, Theory Danley, my guy Saz G, and Harv Center. He knows what he's doing. He coached Pa Pazinski for the Warriors. He coached Jalen J-Dub for the Thunder. Coach James Harden. So this guy knows talent, man. He knows how to put guys in the league and guys produce in the league as well, though. So shout out to Coach Herb Cerny. Memphis versus Utah State. This is a good matchup, mid-major matchup, man. Give me Utah State. Memphis been struggling this year. Well, Penny's he might be on the hot seat. He might be one of those coaches on the hot seat soon. They're currently 13-13 right now, maybe 13-12. Who knows? But they're not good right now. So give me Utah State. Portland State versus Northern Colorado. I like Portland State. They're a well-oiled machine in the Big Sky right now, but it's gonna be a good game. And you got Toledo versus Bowling Green. Give me Bowling Green. Bowling Green's a pretty good team with Javante Ruffin and Campbell. Seth Towns, I feel like they're a real underrated team though. But it's gonna be a good game though. You got Austin Parks for Toledo and the freshman blend and Sonny Wilson. It's gonna be a high-scoring game though. So give me Bowling Green. And last game, Hofstra versus UNC Wilmington for the top of the CAA clash. So give me UNC Wilmington in that game. They went to the tournament the last couple years. So Hofstra, I still like Hofstra winning the conference, but UNC Wilmington is going to win today at home. All right, mid-major freshman of the week. We got Roman Doman, freshman at Murray State. He's 6'9". He's been kind of trending all over the place on college basketball. He's currently averaging 14 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, and he's shooting 40% from three-point, elite, getting buckets, making plays around the rim for his 10 minutes of real, averaging 17 points in the last 5 games. That guy's getting buckets. So shout out to Roman Doman. Keep getting buckets, man. Murray State, that's another March Madness sleeper in the Missouri Valley, though. So don't look out for them as well. Mid-major player of the week goes to Corey Camper of Nevada. He's currently averaging 18 points per game, 4 rebounds. He had 32 points versus UNLV, 35 points versus Boise State. That guy was getting buckets. So definitely look out for Nevada and Corey Camper. They got a good team. Steve Alford, Indiana legend, played under legendary coach Bobby Knight, and is one of the greatest players to ever play at Indiana. And now he's having a hell of a coaching career. Coached at New Mexico, UCLA. Now he's at Nevada, doing pretty good things over there in Mountain West. So that's my mid-major player of the week and mid-major freshman of the week. We like to give love to the mid-major guys. The national media always gives Blue Bloods and Power 5. In this pod, we show love to the mid-majors as well. So, all right, we're going to wrap it up with the top games of the week. Like I said, college game day, we got Texas Tech versus Arizona. That's going to be a good game. Give me Arizona. They're going to bounce back and beat Texas Tech. Then you got Auburn versus Arkansas. Ooh, this is an interesting game right here. This game can go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn got this win, though, because they really need this win as far as to get bolster up their resume for first-year coach Stephen Pearl. Got Keishan Hall, Tahir Petaway, and, you got a lot of vets on that team. So I like Arkansas still on the team, but I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn wins though. Texas A&M versus Vanderbilt. Texas A&M started strong. You got Bucky Ball, coach from Sanford last year. So now he's in his first year, but give me Vanderbilt in this game. Rashawn Aggie for Texas A&M been playing pretty well. Got Isaac Popes. He's going crazy. Papa Isaacs, I mean. But give me Vanderbilt. Tyler Tanner, he's a problem. Hopefully Duke Miles comes back today. But Tyler Tanner, he's first team all SEC, and he's going to be a first round draft pick as well. He had 37 and 7 assists most recently versus LSU. So, I like Vanderbilt a lot. UCLA versus Michigan. This is a good game. UCLA needs this game a lot for getting the resume win and solidifying themselves in the NCAA tournament. Michigan, you already know how I feel about Michigan, best team in the nation. But Mick Cronin, he's been in the media a lot, crying about his team, crying about pros. Hopefully he can cry to his team and get this win. So let's see. Right now, you got Clemson versus Duke going at it. I like Duke, but Clemson, they took who did they take? Virginia Tech most recently. So Clemson, let's see what they can bounce back. But I like Duke in that game. Kentucky versus Florida. Kentucky, like I said, we talked about the game earlier. Give me Florida in this game, though. But Kentucky, don't surprise if they won, but that'd be a big win for Mark Pope as far as his tenure as a Kentucky coach and as far as his career as well. Got the dub in Arkansas, so let's see if he can go to Swampville and Gainesville and see if he can get that in Florida versus Todd Gold, defending champs. OSU versus Virginia. We got ACC versus Big Ten in Nashville, neutral site game. This is a big game for Ohio State. They took a big loss to Michigan by 20 on the road, barely scored 50 points. Beat USC, another bubble team, in a thriller 89-82 Wednesday. So let's see if they can get that big win versus Virginia. This is a big win for them, probably one of the biggest games of their season. So let's see if they can get that done, get it their first squad win. Kansas versus Iowa State. I like Kansas in this game. Iowa State, I won't be surprised that Iowa State blows them out because they beat them the first time, but I like Kansas, trying to make a strong case to bluster up their seeding. Purdue versus Iowa. Give me Iowa in this game. Iowa been playing pretty good basketball. Even though they lost to Maryland, I think they need this game a lot. Bennett Stark's been having a hell of a season. He just had 36 points. He's going to be a lottery pick as well. Came from D2, played at Drake last year. Now he's still in the Big Ten. This guy's a pro's pro. And the last game of the week, we got NC State versus Miami. Miami just beat North Carolina Tar Heels handily on the at home Tuesday. Now they got NC State, a team that just got blown out by Louisville. So let's see if they can NC State can come back and be competitive in this game. But give me Miami in this game to bluster up their at large, resume and continue to play pretty well under Coach Jay Lucas. Shout out to him. So those are my top games of the week. And thank you for checking in with college basketball. We've really been going strong all season long, and we're gonna keep producing more content though. So like, share, subscribe, tell everybody. We out. CloudHoopZ Consulting on YouTube and IG and on TikTok. Cloud9_talk on IG. Like, share, subscribe. Get it.